The day is finally here and I'm very excited because today we're checking out the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus Tube Amplifier. And I think you're really gonna love this thing. Let's start right away with a heavy demo. Check it out and enjoy. Oh yes, that sounded so good! So that was my Schecter E1 Apocalypse Red Rain with the Schecter USA Apocalypse pickup in the bridge. And that's one of my favorite guitars because it sounds so good and it plays so nicely. And I ran that guitar through the lead channel of the Prometheus. And by the way, for all the tones in this video, the amplifier will be fed through my RedSeven Amplification Amp Central reactive load. And for the main segments, I will be using some OwnHammer impulse responses. And for the drums, I'm using ML drums as per usual. So, the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus is finally here. What an incredible amplifier. And in this video, I hope to show you guys what this thing can do. So I love Lichtlaerm Audio, and the guy behind the brand, Daniel, is a very lovely guy, a really nice guy. And last year he told me about this amplifier, that he was gonna create the ultimate amplifier, and it got me very excited. But back then it was still a secret. And then some months ago when he had the prototype, he came over to this studio and we checked out the prototype and we chatted about it. And of course we made a video, which you can watch up here or down here. And I really recommend checking that out because it's cool to hear Daniel talk about the amplifier in his own words. It's basically a very unique amplifier design in terms of the features, but also in terms of the circuit. And it does some really special and unique things as well. First of all, know that when you order one of these amplifiers, you can order a custom tonex or color for the front if you so wish. And I went with this white tonex and the wood front stained red, which looks absolutely gorgeous to me. And I call this amplifier Red Velvet because of that. Looks absolutely awesome. But you can also go black or choose another color for the tonex, etc. So that's good to know. You can also order various power tube type combinations. And the combination that I went for is a combo of EL34s and KD88s. And I believe that this particular combo gives the amplifier a wattage rating of around 150 watts or so. So it's a loud amplifier, but it also sounds great at lower levels, so bedroom levels. And it's a 2-channel amplifier with enough tonal shaping options that allow you to shape the tone to your liking. And because of that, I like to call this amplifier a chameleon because it's just great at doing so many different things and it does them all really well. Both the channels have their own volume and gain control as well as a 3-band EQ. In the master section over the left here, we have a master volume control as well as a presence and depth control and the gate threshold. Now the built-in gate is actually really good. And it's basically the key and the gate pedal by Lichtlaerm Audio built into the amplifier for cable method style. So it's a really effective noise gate, which is a really welcome addition. And it does a really great job at keeping the amplifier silent. Note, however, that the amplifier isn't very noisy at all, but it does help. Now the clean channel is up top here, and that channel has a brilliant and warm switch. So kind of like a bright switch. Warm is a little bit darker, and that may be suitable for very bright and chimey single coil pickups or for certain types of pedals. So if you're going to use this amplifier as a pedal platform, that might be the best setting for you. And Brilliant just gives it a nice sort of bright chime up top, which is what I prefer for my clean tones. So let's go ahead and try that out with my ESP LTD Phoenix 1000 Deluxe, the red one with the Fishman Fluence modern pickups in it, on the neck pickup, which is the Alnico pickup. And I'm also going to put the Walrus Audio Fundamentals reverb in the loop. Okay, let's take a listen. Check it out. Great, that's a beautiful clean tone for sure. I like it. So very high headroom, very clean, but also kind of warm and tubey sounding. So that's a really nice touch. Sometimes the very high headroom cleans are a little bit pokey and too sort of sterile, but not with this amplifier. Now let's move on to the lead channel, which is the channel on the bottom here, and that's where all the distorted magic happens. And this channel has some very nice tonal shaping features, like the byte switch, for example, over here. And the byte switch allows you to fine-tune the treble and upper mid-range response, basically. And it has 3 settings. At the middle setting, it's neutral, so that makes the amplifier sound the most fat and loose. In the up position, it boosts high frequencies only, so it gives it a nice bite. And in the down position, it also boosts some mid frequencies, so that gives you the most bark and aggression, basically. And that's also what I used for the intro track in this video. And then on the right side over here, we have the cut control, which is a very cool and unique control. And that control can also be found on many of the Lichtlaerm Audio overdrive pedals. And it's basically a control that lets you dial in the tightness of the tone. Put it all the way to the left, so counterclockwise, and you get the most full, fat and loose sound, which is great for stoner and doom and more classic tones. And then once you start turning it up, so clockwise, the sound becomes more tight, so the low end response especially. Which of course is great for modern styles like modern metal and progressive metal and stuff like that. And we'll explore a little bit with different settings in this video. But yeah, the cut control and the byte control alone really are very powerful controls to shape the amplifier's tone to your liking. There's also the vintage modern switch over here. Basically, on vintage mode, the amplifier has less gain and it sounds a bit more classic, like a classic rock amplifier. And in modern, of course, it has more gain and it sounds more modern. But I want to try the vintage setting first. In the intro, you guys already heard the modern setting, but let's try vintage for some classic tones using my Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s with the Duncan JB pickup in it. And let's see if this amplifier can get sort of Marshall-esque tones. And I'm going to put the byte switch in the bottom position for a nice and barky mid-range grind, like how I sort of hear Marshall sounds in my head. And cut will be all the way off. Okay, let's take a listen. Check it out. was great! I honestly wasn't expecting this amplifier to do those classic tones really well, but it nailed it absolutely, so that's awesome. Now let's go to the modern mode for some more modern rock with some high gain settings using my ESP LTD Phoenix 1000 Deluxe, the white one with the Seymour Duncan custom in the bridge position. And now I'm going to put the byte switch in the up position to focus a little bit more on the top end byte rather than the mids. And I'll still have the cut control all the way off. And from now on, for all the heavy stuff, the gate will be on as well. Take a listen. Wonderful, that sounds so rich, warm, and fat, and it does all the things that I want from a tube amplifier, so that's great. Now I want to get heavier again, just as in the intro basically, with my LTD SC27 Carpenter model with the Duncan JB in the bridge. And again, I'm going to put the byte switch to the bottom position, and I'm going to dial the cut control up a little bit to tighten up the tone. Okay, let's take a listen, check it out. What can I say? Isn't that like the perfect metal tone right there? I absolutely love it. Very rich saturation and a great mid-range texture that lets it sit very nicely in the mix. A nice and chunky but tight bottom end because of the cut control, but still with a nice bouncy and organic feel when you play it. And that's not always the case with these very tight amplifiers. So again, with the cut control, you can really dial in the sweet spot in terms of the tightness, which is just so powerful. Now let's try some active pickups, an EMG 81 to be precise, in my LTD Phoenix Arctic Metal. Similar settings, but again, shaping the EQ a little bit here and there to make it sound the best for that particular guitar. Okay, let's take a listen. Oh yes, that sounded great as well. So this amplifier sounds great with passive pickups as well as active pickups, so that's awesome. Now let's go lower with the baritone 7-string, my ESP LTD SC607B1H to be precise, with the Steph Fluence pickup in the bridge position, tuned to drop a flat on the active voicing of that pickup. Okay, let's take a listen. Check it out. Damn, that Fishman sounded great as well. Kind of gnarly and throaty, but also with a very tight bottom end response and just a very clear sound overall. Just perfect. Now let's go even lower with my Ibanez Meshuggah M80M 8-string with the Lundgren pickup in it, tuned to F standard. And let's see how well this amplifier can handle an 8-string guitar. And we're gonna dial up the cut control a little bit to tighten up the tone even more. Take a listen. Okay, that was amazing. This amplifier performed really well, and I haven't used a boost pedal in this entire video because this amplifier doesn't really need it. So yeah, every guitar that I've tried so far sounded absolutely perfect, so I'm impressed. Now in a minute, I'm also going to do some dialing in with some looped riffs so you guys can really hear how the controls sound. But first, quickly, let's check out some more features that this amp has to offer. So on the left side of the front panel here, we have 4 switches. The top switch, so the defeat switch, bypasses the preamp completely. So that means that the signal from the input goes straight into the power amp, which can be very useful for using preamps and such with the amplifier. And that means that you don't have to switch to the effects return, which is the case with every other amplifier in the world, basically. And maybe I'll do a separate video on that in the future, if you guys want to see that. And then there's the switch for the gate. This turns the gate on or off. the loop, bypass, and the store switch. Now, do note that this amplifier comes with this awesome foot switch with great graphics on it, with these 6 switches. And this switch is really cool because you can program it in any way you like. What you basically do is you set the amplifier up to the sound that you want to go for. So the channel that you want to go for. If you're on the lead channel, you can choose between the vintage and modern. You can set the defeat switch how you want it, set the gate how you want it, and the loop, etc. And then you store it onto one of these switches, basically. So you can basically store 6 presets on this pedal that you've programmed yourself with the amplifier. And when you've set it all up, you just basically press the store button and boom, it's saved to the switch that you're on at that current moment. And a nice bonus is this 9-volt out. So that's really cool as well for your tuner or your wah or whatever. So yeah, that's a really nice touch indeed. On the back, we have various speaker outs, bias ports, the foot switch connector, another 9-volt out, the effects loop, and a line out with the dedicated volume control. Okay, now I want to do some dialing in and tweaking the controls using my Gibson Les Paul Custom to show you guys how all the controls affect the tone and how musical they are. This time I'm going to use an IR that a friend made. The other John Brown, you might know his channel. He recently also reviewed the Prometheus, which I recommend checking out. But he also reviewed the Lichtlaerm Audio LCFR speaker, the 150. And those are the speakers that were custom made by Fane, I believe, for the Prometheus and for the cabinets. Now, I haven't tried one of those cabinets yet, but they look beautiful. And I think that they will sound excellent as well. And it's a great sounding speaker. And John, he shot some IRs of that speaker, which he also shared on his channel. And I'm going to use one of those so you guys can hear how the amplifier sounds through the speaker that it was designed for, basically. So that's really cool. Anyway, check out John's videos for sure because he's an excellent dude. First, we're going to start with the clean channel. Let's take a listen. Great. Now let's do the same with the lead channel and listen especially closely to all the switches. So the byte switch, the vintage modern switch, and of course the cut control. Check it out. So hopefully that will give you an idea of how the controls affect the tone and how you can use them to shape the tone, and how musical the EQ is and how sort of useful the entire range of all the controls are. So that's really cool. So you can go really extreme with all the controls if you so desire, and it will still sound natural. It's also worth noting that the pots themselves feel very classy and expensive, in terms of the response. So that's a nice touch as well. And all those nice touches and how the amplifier sounds and all the special controls shows you that this amplifier was built with a great attention to detail. I think that this amplifier is freaking amazing, and if you get the chance to try one, I highly recommend trying one out. It sounds so good, and it's so versatile and flexible without compromise, basically. And all the tonal shaping controls are so useful, it's just so much fun to play through as well. And I think that anybody should be able to get a great tone out of this amplifier, and I really mean that. Whether you need a good pedal platform, a good power amp, good vintage rock tones, thick and fat stoner or doomy tones, or modern metal, it does everything. If you want to order one, for now it's best to just email Lichtlaerm Audio directly, but I was told that soon there will be a page on the website where you can check out the amplifier as well. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. I had a lot of fun working on this video. I wrote all those 8 songs especially for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit a like and subscribe down below, as that really helps the channel out. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and thanks so much to Lichtlaerm Audio for making this happen. Daniel, I appreciate you. You are the best. Thanks guys, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.